This is the road test video for a Honda CR-V 2.2 diesel sport. Car's registered HN06HVP. Mileage at the start of this brief road test is 60,262 miles. The purpose of the road test is really because we're now selling to customers from pretty much all over mainland Europe and the extremes of the UK. So if people are willing to invest their time, energy and money to come and see us, we feel as though it's right as a company now that we show you the car in operation, and if there's anything we need to report on before you come to see us, then you know you can you know what you're coming to see. You can be prepared for it. I try in these videos to go through the car in the same order that you probably would yourself when you go for a test drive, and I'll just sort of talk about sort of individual parts of the car. I always start with the engine on this one. Obviously we're looking at a very low mileage car. It's been beautifully looked after and it's got great ownership credentials. This is the i-CTDi diesel engine, which in this particular car, as they pretty much always do, but starts absolutely on the button. There's no strange noises at all. In fact, it's one of the sweeter engines I've driven. It's very, very, very quiet and smooth. There's hardly any chatter to it. In fact, it's quieter than my newer version, to be honest with you. But it pulls really, really nicely, very crisp all across the complete rev band. No turbo lag, no turbo whistle. It's, as I said, you know, even Honda diesels can vary slightly. You know, you get some which haven't been quite as well looked after, maybe a little bit gruff, or a bit of chatter from some auxiliary belts haven't been kept on top of. But this is a really, really sweet engine. It pulls like a train, and as I said, you know, as soon as you start it, there's no smoke. It just settles to a very smooth, very even idle. The engine then runs through obviously clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car's light as a feather. Bites exactly the right points on the clutch pedals, you know, right about halfway up. Very smooth in actuation. There's no change in engine note. There's no vibrations when the clutch is in or out. You know, which should suggest sort of wear or otherwise within the system. But all in all, the clutch is, you know, in fabulous order. Clutch then goes through the 6-speed Honda gearbox. As with pretty much everything Honda do, gearbox wise, it's an absolute work of art. This gearbox. Lovely mechanical, high quality gear shift, always finds its way home. This one's tight as a drum. It's got no wear in the linkage that I can detect at all. It feels exactly as it was when it was new. It's you know, it's a really wonderful condition. This, you know, it's just, you know, we've never ever touched a manual gearbox on a Honda CR-V diesel, even with big mileages. But obviously the linkages over, you know, a couple 100,000 miles will eventually start to show wear, but there's nothing in this at all, absolutely nothing at all. So in terms of engine, gearbox and clutch, utterly faultless. You know, I have to say that, you know, I drive lots of these cars. Please believe me, if there was an issue with it, I would let you know straight away. But this is definitely one of the sweetest CR-V diesels I think I've ever driven. Steering on the car, lovely and smooth, tracks bullet straight, there's no vibrations at all. I can't detect a hint of wear in the steering system at all. And again, I'm kind of looking out or listening out and feeling for things like, you know, it's got a little bit of sort of shudders and shakes underneath, something to, you know, suggest that something might be a little bit loose or a bit worn under the car, but nothing at all. That then brings me neatly onto the suspension of the car. I still maintain this version of the CR-V was the most comfortable of all. Very, very smooth riding. You know, it goes over bumps that the newer versions, which are slightly firmer suspension, can't quite ride as smoothly. But this, again, is throwing up no noises from it at all. Utterly smooth. Not a hint of wear in the system, so none of the kind of Lanter bar links are chattering away underneath. No ball joints seem to be, you know, have any degree of wear, certainly for the driver's seat. It really is in very, very, very fine fettle, this car. You know, whilst I'm driving at the legal limits here, I'm listening out for sort of strange wind noises as well, that, you know, may coming through a sort of a cracked seal in a wind, you know, the sunroof, because this has got electric sunroof, or, you know, windscreen or windows. but again, it's all very, very subdued in here. There's nothing coming into the cabin at all. The car, as I said, in terms of the drive, you know, you can absolutely rest assured whether you're coming 10 minutes up the road or traveling 3 days across Europe, then you will not find fault with the drive of the car. Looking at the dashboard, no warning lights on the car. Again, I wouldn't expect there to be, but just to let you know. Looking at the temperature gauge, it should be about a third of the way up on pretty much all Hondas, and that's exactly where this one is. All the dials, this is the later version of the shaped CRV, and they revised the interior, so you've got these new dials which are very, very crisp and clear in a very typical Honda way. The rest of the dashboard's been kept in really lovely order. The plastics are in very, very, very fine order. You know, hardly a mark on them. You know, looking across here now, so that, you know, the last owner has really, really kept on top of this car. It's a very fine example, actually. Just going to push through this corner a bit just to show you just how flat and steady these CRVs hold the road. It's a very, very capable car. No hint of any clutch slip or otherwise. It's just slow down for the speed limit there. Just a really, really lovely example. I wish I could sort of say something negative about it. Cruise control fitted to the car. Just press the main cruise button down there. Press, set, cruise lights on the dashboard, foot's off the throttle, and it works absolutely perfectly. Coming to the centre, nice big high up radio CD, good old fashioned system, very simple, easy to use, even I can use it. Coming down the middle, you've got the cool box there, so in summer you just put that up there and you can keep kind of sandwiches fresh or chocolate bars from sort of melting into the carpet. But again, it all works absolutely perfectly. Further down here, we've got controls through the climate control system. Again, really nice, simple, easy to use, and quite beautifully engineered. Everything else, everything I've touched on the car works absolutely perfectly. And I said, were there something for me to say to you in terms of anything detrimental to the car or negative about it, I definitely would, but there is nothing. A quick pointer to the four-wheel drive system of the car. Those that know the car will know what I'm talking about. Basically, the car, it is a four-wheel drive vehicle, but it does it all automatically and utterly reliably as well. We've never, ever, ever, and we've sold literally hundreds, if not thousands of these, had an issue with the four-wheel drive. The car runs pretty much the whole time as it is now in two-wheel drive. It doesn't tell you, it just does it. Honda worked out very quickly that most people won't be using four-wheel drive, or will very rarely. But if, for sake of argument, you were towing a caravan or a trailer or going across a muddy field with a horse box, as soon as the front wheels start to slip, then it'll automatically bring in the rear-wheel drive and then disengage it pretty quickly thereafter. What that does is a couple of things. One, it minimises mechanical losses and potential failures through a permanent four-wheel drive system. It's much kinder on its tyres than the permanent four-wheel drive system as well, and certainly the old days of, you know, diffs winding up and all sorts of issues doesn't apply to this car at all. And obviously, big knock-on effect is fuel economy. Because you're not running permanent four-wheel drive, there's less frictional losses, and so you're gaining an economy, because these things give, you know, easily over 40 to the gallon, you know, up to 50 in the right hands. But it's all beautifully manufactured. Honda are absolute masters at this kind of thing, and you know, the four-wheel drive system has been in operation for, you know, well over 20 years. In the old Honda Shuttle, I think it originated years ago, called real-time all-wheel drive or real-time four-wheel drive. But no, I said, I know it's only brief, but I just want to give any reassurance to anyone coming, that you're coming to see a really, really fine car mechanically. It's in lovely, lovely order. Obviously, if I've missed anything out on this video or the preceding walk-around appraisal video of the car, I do apologise. You know, please don't hesitate, give us a call and ask any questions, and we'll be happy to get back to you.